NBC News special correspondent Tom Brokaw joins us now from Montana. Tom, good morning to you. You have covered presidents going all the way back to Richard Nixon. Put this in perspective, what we're seeing right now with this administration. What, if anything, does it compare to?
Well, from time to time in this country, obviously, reaching back to Richard Nixon, we have been divided by the war in Vietnam and other issues. But all presidents attempt to pull the country together. And as I go around America, Matt, what I find is Republicans and Democrats and independents alike say, look, we've got to find a way to work together. And then we have this astonishing statement by the president yesterday in which he divided America. He refused to condemn the hateful hate groups that are assembled in Charlottesville. That's how it all began, shouting anti-Semitic remarks, demanding that white people have a right to rule America, in effect. David Duke calling the president out, saying, look, we elected you, you owe us. Now, the counter-demonstrators should learn something about how to be more effective. In my years as a reporter, the most impressive thing I ever saw was the nonviolent movement of Dr. Martin Luther King. That moved this country because they were able to concentrate on the moral questions that were there. So everybody has to take a look at what's going on, but most of all, there has to be widespread condemnation of these hate groups that went to Charlottesville and now feel empowered by the president's remarks.
And Tom, where do you think it goes from here? I mean, how do we move on from this point?
I don't know. It really does require presidential leadership of a higher order to bring the country together. And now the question will be how many members of his administration will feel that they have to leave because they can't support those policies. Does he come out and read some kind of a statement? That's not going to be enough. He's going to have to find a way to stitch the country back together again. And frankly, I don't know whether he's capable of doing that in his own mind. This is the Donald Trump that everybody in New York kind of came to know when he was a businessman. He would always see things through his own prism. But now he's the president of the United States, and it's always somebody else's fault. It's Mitch McConnell's fault because they didn't get health care. It's someone else's fault. He's the moral authority by the office that he has, and it's about time for him to exercise that.
Tom, do you think we're going to see more Charlottesvilles going on around the country as the months go on?
God, I hope not. That would be an outrageous commentary on where we are in the 21st century. Last night, I was at an event in Bozeman, Montana, and it was a tribute, really, to the ability of citizens to work together. It was a big ranching issue and the use of land. It was farming in Kansas and also fishing in the Gulf Coast. And it was a demonstration of how citizens from the ground up can come together and solve the problems that are important to them. And I think that the country really does have to rise up. And we'll see what the Republicans in the congressional areas have to say about all of this as well.
All right. Tom Brokaw joining us this morning. Tom, thank you so much for your perspective. We appreciate it. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Tom.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.